Okay, Billy is working on framing the front section of the shipping container, and now there's a section at the very top that, let's see where that is, right up around there, that he couldn't quite get to yet. The lumber is only so tall, probably 8 foot tall, and that's a 9 foot tall ceiling. So after we frame up this part, then I'll help him do that very top part. And that's it. We got the air conditioner in, then he's got the OSB board, I guess is what it's called, that he's going to put in along there as well. We'll close it off, and then we've got a second wall, I don't know, probably 10 feet back, 15 feet back maybe, that will block that off with the OSB also to kind of block it off from the rest of the shipping container. The very back part will be storage, and then that way we don't have to cool that part, and we'll just cool the front part, our living part that we're going to be sleeping in and living in. All right, that's the update for now. This is our shipping container that we have, and I'll give you a quick little tour and then we'll interview Billy about it. But he built this wall with a door that closes. We just don't have it closed right now. Air conditioner in there, and it is kind of messy. I haven't swept it out or anything yet, so we're getting ready to just organize it and clear things out a little bit more. It's the inside of that wall. There are some slight gaps, and some of it I was able to use this gaps and crack spray, like an insulation foam for small products. But we have a little lock on the inside here. We have the generator for the air conditioner and the fan that we can use for a little while at night. Here's our rollaway beds that we got. We built this back wall so that we don't have to air condition the entire container space. So this is just going to be our living area. I don't know what it is, 10 foot, I don't know, 8 by 10, something like that, 8 by 12, something like that. And anyway, we didn't have time this visit to make the door for this to go back there, because we want to block as much air as possible from going back there. But anyway, this seems to work pretty good for our needs. It's temporary, and we can sleep in here comfortably, and then we don't have to get a hotel when we come into town, because that gets a little expensive. And it also helps us to connect more with our land, which maybe sounds weird, but we like it. Tell me what you thought about putting the walls up, and it seems to work really well.
Yeah, it turned out okay. It's the first time I've ever done something like that with a shipping container, so I was kind of concerned about how to get it to kind of all work together, because I don't want to drill holes into the steel sides and things. Really, I started off with just the floor, putting a 2x4 across the floor, putting a screw in, a 3-inch screw about every foot and a half, something like that. And then for the walls, I had the boards at a certain length. I wanted to be able to have, use full 4x8 sheets of plywood, so I had to make sure that the studs were a certain size. And the boards I bought were all 8 foot, which was a mistake. I should have bought some that were real studs that were a little bit shorter. They would have been about 10 cents cheaper. At the time, I didn't think about it. I just got all 8 foot. So I had to cut off about 3 inches off of each one, which, isn't the end of the world. For the sides, what I did was I had the boards on, you put them up against the wall into the grooves. Of course, if you look here, these are sideways, but on the inside, these little indentions, it runs up and down. So what I did is just put a 2x4 in here, so that way it couldn't move left or right. I don't know if you want to show that sometime in a little clip of that or not, how that is. And then what I did was I took a board for the top, that would run all the way across the top.
Let's go in and we can point it out.
Okay. But like this board right here, I cut it to go from this wall all the way over here to this wall. And then I took another 2x4, screwed from the top in here, and then I was able to push against this 2x4 up against the wall here. So this 2x4 here is attached to this one, which is pushing against this one up against the wall.
So you had to build a long box to go along that top because the 2x4s were only 8 foot and the ceiling is like 9 foot.
Yeah.
So we had a little gap up there. We had to build
There's also, there's 2 boxes I built. I thought you were talking about the other box. The original box is the 8-foot box, which runs across the bottom. This 2x4 that runs all the way up here, and then this board right here, this 2x4 runs all the way across here. And then I use this screwed into here to push against this 2x4.
Okay.
As you can see through here, there's no screws in this 2x4. There's nothing securing it to the steel frame or the steel wall.
Because that would punch holes in it.
Yeah, it would punch holes in it. The only thing that's securing it up against that is this little 2x4 here that has 2 screws in it that's pushing against the wall.
Okay.
And so I made my outside box that way. Same way on the other side. It was a little bit more complicated because since this is a used shipping container, there's a dent here. So nothing's square. So I never really, once you do that, it's like, okay, do you really want to make everything square whenever the things that you're starting with isn't square to begin with? So I had to do things a little differently. The 2x4 that actually matches up goes on the outside, then I secured it into that. So I made a box first, got that to where it was pretty sturdy, and then after that I started putting in my other 2x4s and started securing things, making them stronger. And it's pretty strong. I mean, here I'm pushing on it, pulling on it. It's not going anywhere. And then, like what Kim was talking about, we made a box on the top because since this is a high cube shipping container, it's like 9 feet 5 or 9 feet 6 inches tall, something like that. So I went ahead and just made my 8-foot walls, and then I added this on top to make it more secure. And then did the same thing on the back. I made my box the same way all the way around. Pretty much put in my studs, which this is a little easier to see because we didn't have the air conditioner. We were able to have 16 on center with these here. And then I wanted a larger door because we're going to be moving some things in here, some furniture for storage. And so a 36-inch door probably would have been all right, but we went ahead and went with a 40. So it's 48 from the wall all the way to the side over to here. It's 48 inches, and then a few inches here to make this a little stronger because there's gonna be some hinges on it. So that's it. I mean, it's really secure. I mean, there's no screws in here, and I'm sitting here and I'm moving it, and it's just barely wiggling. I mean, if anything, I'm putting quite a bit on it.